Not everyone believes in miracles, but people who have experienced them firsthand know that they are wondrous events that need no explanation. John Carney lives in Naples, Florida, but really lives to be under the sea. He's a fisherman, a veteran underwater spearfishing enthusiast. Every chance he gets, every spare moment, he's diving. Sometimes with friends, sometimes alone. He often signs up for dive trips to the most remote areas off the Florida Keys. On March 12, 1996, John boarded a charter boat for a 4-day trip to the Dry Tortugas, the most distant islands of the Keys.
Beautiful day, the water is very good visibility. There wasn't a lot of wind and the waves were rolling waves.
There was a total of 16 divers on the boat. John came alone without his normal diving companions.
We spent Thursday night on the boat and then we went spearfishing all Friday. And I threw my gear on the bunk and then I threw my sleeping bag over everything.
You good to go?
All right. It was the last dive, and I was coming up, and the boat was probably about 100 to 125 feet going south of me. The captain had said earlier, he said, if I come up, looks like I'm going away from you, don't worry, I'll be back to get you. I'm going to get some other divers. So I sat there and I put my flag on the end of my spear tip, held it up, and was waiting for the boat to pick me up. He went south of me a couple hundred yards, picked up some divers, turned around, and he was coming back towards me, and then they got about, I'd say maybe 300 yards south of me, and then they made a turn to the west. And at this time, it was, I don't know, maybe 7 o'clock, and the sun was starting to set. And right then and there, I freaked out, and I realized they didn't know I was on board.
While most of the divers were relaxing topside, down below, it appeared that John was asleep. No one knew that he had been left at sea.
Please don't leave me!
I'm getting away from the boat. I don't know how they're going to find me. The ocean's so big.
Please don't go!
They think I'm in bed sleeping, and that they're not going to realize that I'm still in the water till during, before, or after the first dive the next day when they do another count and realize there's a body missing.
John was helpless and acutely aware of his predicament. His buoyancy collar would keep him afloat. But thoughts of the dangers below were constantly filling his mind.
When the sun set completely and it was dark, I completely realized I was gone. I couldn't get to the boat myself. Right? As soon as that happened is when I felt totally hopeless, you know, that I was gone. I've been in the water a long time, over 15 hours, 16 hours. And I knew I was really far west of where I was supposed to be, and I just freaked out because I know there's nothing west. There's nothing except a lot of deep water. And then right there, I just felt completely hopeless. It was just the worst feeling. You know, there were times where I would say, well, I hope no sharks come, and then I would freak out. I'm not gonna be one of these guys just because he gets in a jam, starts making deals with God, but I said a prayer and I asked God to just help me make the right decisions to get out of this. During this time, I was like filled with all this rage and resentment. I hated the guy that talked me into going on my first trip. I hated all the guys on board the boat. I hated the captain. I mean, I just want to get out of this, and I'm going to get them all. And then after that, I said, boy, I don't know what to do. And I said, I'll tell you what, God, if you help me out of this and help me get saved, I will not have any resentments against anyone. And then I felt good. I go, well, at least I'm going to go with not these bad feelings in me.
Although he didn't know it at the time, John's prayers had been answered. He had miraculously drifted over an area of seabed that was an underwater desert. No small fish, therefore no predators. John was actually in a very safe place.
I heard something or felt something, and I looked up, and there was a bird a couple inches from my face. It turned, and I remember hitting him saying, I'm not dead yet.
While John was struggling in the open sea, the other divers realized he was not on board. They radioed the U.S. Coast Guard, who immediately dispatched rescue boats and helicopters.
They came over, and they see me, and oh, great. I can't believe this. I was just I couldn't believe I was going to live.
Lieutenant Jim O'Keefe was on the scene.
After we had picked him up, we called the dive boat and informed them that we had their dive aboard And basically the way I put it was we have the luckiest man in Florida aboard our aircraft.
John experienced a miracle and is taking no chances that he'll need another.
Now I have a dive buddy. I have 2 dive buddies every trip, and their main responsibility is to make sure the boat don't leave without me.